Let's get back to our weather forecast. Of course, we have that bomb cyclone coming. We saw the winds starting to whip up over on Vancouver Island, southern Vancouver Island, and Kylie Stanton mentioned we're already starting to see some power outages as well. BC Ferries has made some cancellations preemptively. Kristi Gordon has more on what's coming up. Kristi?
Well, Sophie, I wanted to show you this monster. Really, we're dealing with the winds because of the low pressure center, but look at this atmospheric river. Incredible rains are headed towards the Oregon and California coast. But yeah, for our region, the low pressure center really has intensified. We may see a couple more hours of intensification, but overall, we really are getting to the strength of it. Thankfully, it's going to stay offshore and it's just going to migrate towards the north a little bit. Overnight, we'll see strong winds as well, but throughout the day tomorrow, the winds will start to die down. But it's really sucking in that air from the interior regions. And so that's why we have wind warnings along coastal regions, but special weather statements all across the province. So that's all across these interior regions and down in through the south as well, as it continues to pull those strong winds in. And we're going to see incredible wind chills overnight as well for this time of year. Even in Metro Vancouver, it will be cold down to 0 degrees. But there's that pull of the air all the way along the inlets. You'll see it be sucked out towards that low pressure center. And we are concerned about blowing snow for those of you in the Caribou Central Interior, as well as the fact that the Coquihalla northern sections, as well as the connector, blowing snow expected tonight and tomorrow morning. It will not be great for travel. For the south coast, we talked about those easterly flows. So Nanaimo up towards Comox, one of the key areas we'll be watching, and the inlets, particularly Howe Sound. So we are concerned certainly about power outages overnight, delays in travel because of the wet, windy conditions that we're expecting. And I wouldn't rule out the possibility of some damage across some buildings in some of those key areas I mentioned. Tomorrow, much lighter conditions, but we're still going to see gusty conditions with winds up to about 60 kilometers an hour for Metro Vancouver. A daytime high of 10 degrees, and the rain will be much lighter tomorrow, and particularly just showers along the mountains. Sophie, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kristi. Senior Meteorologist Kristi Gordon joins us now with more. What do people need to know, Kristi, going into the evening and overnight?
Well, Sophie, this is a monster storm. It really has now increased to a Category 3 hurricane strength, a low pressure center, but it's not going to move onshore, thankfully. The impact for our area will be far less, but if these are outflow winds. So this is very different from the last storm that we saw, because these are going to be easterly winds. So through the Strait of Georgia, we're talking about gusts up to 110 kilometers an hour through Howe Sound as well. Nanaimo up towards Comox. Metro Vancouver, gusts up to only about 80 kilometers an hour, but we'll see strong winds through the inlets and out through the Fraser Valley through southern Metro Vancouver. Outer coast of Vancouver Island, gusts up to 120 kilometers an hour. Strongest winds are anticipated through the evening, and then we will begin to die down through the overnight period, but down trees, broken branches, certainly power outages, damage to buildings is possible, and hazardous driving conditions because of the wind and rain. Large waves and minor coastal flooding is possible. Conditions will be a little bit better tomorrow morning, but may see some delays in travel because of four-way stop procedures because of power outages.
All right, thanks for that, Kristi. We'll touch base with you a bit later. All right, let's bring meteorologist Kristi Gordon back in with another look at that bomb cyclone that's parked off our coast. And it's a big storm, Kristi.
Yeah, it's a monster. Yeah, so I wanted to point this out, the fact that we've got an atmospheric river targeting Oregon and California coast. They've got concerns for flooding in that region. Meanwhile, we're on the northern edge of it, dealing with the low pressure center itself as it has intensified today. I don't anticipate a lot more intensity. It is and has dropped to about 945 millibars, which is like a Category 3 hurricane, but thankfully it's going to stay off the coast. So we're anticipating winds kind of more like a Category 1 on the outer coast of Vancouver Island, and then Metro Vancouver is even further away. But these are strong outflow winds. It's going to continue to track towards the north, staying offshore, and then weaken throughout the day tomorrow. So these are the winds that we've seen already, up to 100 kilometers an hour already on the outer coast. You can see a few areas. Look at this, up to 94. So we're certainly starting to see the winds pick up. I'm anticipating further power outages this evening and overnight. And we'll also see power outages in the interior region. So that wind is being pulled out all across the BC area, and you can see that by the warnings. So the wind warnings are in place for coastal regions, but we've got special weather statements for the interior regions and a new one, blowing snow advisory now for the connector as well as northern sections of the Coquihalla because of blowing snow, gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour. That is tonight into the early morning hours tomorrow, so avoid travel even into tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, tomorrow conditions are going to begin to ease. The rain is going to be more consistent and heavy overnight, but we'll see a little bit of rain on and off, particularly along the mountains tomorrow. tomorrow. But tomorrow, still gusty winds up to about 60 kilometers an hour. We are anticipating conditions to sort of just be a little bit unsettled tomorrow. The biggest event really is through the overnight period tonight all across the region, and I'm anticipating the winds to ease off. But tomorrow morning, it's important to note we could see some delays in travel just because of four-way stop procedures because of power outages. Tonight's Central Windows weather window coming to you from Lac La Hache. Barry Selver sharing this amazing, so it's a decaying thunderstorm cloud, and that's what it looks like sometimes when the wind carries the tops of the clouds. Very cool.
It's decaying.
Decaying.
Okay.
This is should I have said a different term?
I feel like I'm decaying
weakening.
sometimes. All right, we'll get to Squire in just one sec, but a big day today for the CKNW Kids Fund Pledge Day, the biggest fundraiser of the year for the charity. The charity helps pay for out-of-pocket health expenses for kids, such as specialized medical equipment and therapies for kids experiencing a variety of different challenges. This year, $2,570,399 has been raised.
That's exciting.
Thank you very much, British Columbia. You just saw the tail end of Chris Kalis, Board Vice Chair of the CKNW Kids Fund.
Cool.
Who was answering phones today.
Nice.
Because we were both on
this morning.
Of course.
On the show this morning.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And another big thank you to everyone who donated to the CKNW Kids Fund Pledge Day. Biggest fundraiser of the year for the Kids Fund, so
Yeah, very important.
many thanks. This weather bomb cyclone.
Yeah, so stay tuned through BC1 through this evening because I think we'll continue to see power outages, concerns about downed trees, so I would kind of avoid heading out into the forest this evening. Not that you were necessarily going to, but just in case.
Sure. Oh yeah, I'm going to the forest, all right.
And I think there could be an impact certainly on travel tomorrow morning if you're worried about that, getting to work just because of four-way stop procedures. So maybe give yourself some extra time for that also.
Take it easy out there.
I can't remember the last time I was in the forest. Looking for golf balls?
Trying to get him out for the grouse grind.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like something in the forest.
2025 is our year.
Not if it's in the forest, it's not.
Thanks for joining us. Have a good night, all.